All right, everybody, welcome on in. Thank you for joining us again. Brent Rollins, David Pollack joined you as always. And weird weather in Georgia. I don't know how the weather is across the country, but I literally put a sweatshirt on yesterday. It's August, and I've never done that in my whole time living in Georgia. My 30 plus years here, or maybe 40, maybe even more. Who knows? I'm old. But it was in the 60s, so that was super weird. Everybody in football absolutely loved that, Brent. Like, you run out there and this is November. This is gorgeous.
I've been here 21 years now, and I don't ever remember. And I think I looked today. The high today was in the 67, 60, mid 60s range, and it was the first time since 2013, 2012. That the high, and by the way, this isn't just like the end of August, maybe false fall, as you see a lot of people talk about. This is the first week of August. And by the way, I'd rather it be hot. I'd 1000% rather it be hot. That's why, the pool's in the backyard. So jump in and be hot.
No. Whoa. See, what is wrong with you? Like, no. Hot is good. But if we get a reprieve for a week, you telling me you're going to complain about a week in the 70s? You better shut the front door.
Well, but it's also raining all day, every day for the past 3 days. So
the rain sucks, correct? Yes. But I love my thermostat. What do you keep the thermostat on, by the way? Because I have some friends. I've never seen anything like it. Like, they'll keep that thing on like 65. And granted, they're a little fluffy. I mean, they're some bigger people. They might have had a past life as an offensive lineman, but 65. Like, I'm not paying for that.
I know
what
you're also very cheap, so that's a you thing.
What do you put it on?
At night it goes to, like, at a certain time 68 degrees, and then a little bit after that like 67, 66 sometimes, depends on the.
Yeah, hey, y'all can't hide money over at the Rollins house. Golly.
That's just the bedroom. That's not.
Hey, I made a deal with my wife. Now listen, we built a bigger house than I would prefer, but I told her, I was like, baby doll, if you build this house and you want a house this big, like, if it's hot, you're going to have to take more clothes off. If it's cold, you're going to have to put more clothes on, because we ain't running the thermostat up and down. And the kids now upstairs think they have a right to change it. I'm like, no. That is not happening in our household. This is not why you tuned into the show, but I hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather talk. But I think it's cool today, Brent, to have all the playoff contenders in all of college football. Like, we're going to list every single one of them and who we think are playoff contenders. And as the list goes on throughout the season, like we can even do a sound. We can get Wes to give us a cool little sound, but like Family Feud, you're wrong. Like, get rid of that one. And but I think if you're going to make a list, I think you're going to make a list with at least 30. Like and then I think there's some fringe and some liberties, which I think will be interesting. But where do you want to start? You want to start with the fringe, or you want to start with like the gimmies?
Well, actually, let's start one other place first, because it came out just today. And that's an annual big thing that to me is a must read. And that's Bruce Feldman's Freaks List, where he goes, kind of talks to all the coaches across the country and gets all these guys weight room and, speed and some of the stuff that they're doing. And of course, if you had to pick the biggest freak in college football and to put number one, who would you put number one? Who do you think would be number one on the list? Because I'm guessing you didn't get a chance to read it.
I did not read it. I'm saying Sammy Brown is going to be high on that list, though, from what I've talked to him about doing some freaky stuff.
So in terms of players, like already established great players who may or may not be on the cover of video games.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith at 6'4", 220 pounds is not legal. Correct.
All right, so he did 20 reps of 225, which Feldman got him saying that he only did 5 when he got there. 11-foot broad jump, 550 squat, 23.5 miles per hour on the GPS, and 38-inch vert at like 6'3.5", 225. I'll give you some other highlights, and you can just tell me which one you think is kind of the most impressive. So you got Caden Proctor, offensive tackle at Alabama. 32-inch vertical and a 9.3 broad jump at 366.
I'm not impressed with a 32-inch vertical. I don't care how much you weigh. Like, 9.3 broad's pretty spectacular. 32 vertical, absolutely not.
Okay. Other guys up there, Amari Washington from Oregon, defensive tackle at 6'3", 338, 20.89 in the GPS, and 36-inch vertical.
36 is pretty. Once you start getting over them 3 bills and you're getting 36 inches in the air, I love when you have people over 300 pounds that are speeding in a school zone. I just think there's something spectacular about that.
Dominic McKinley, who was 5-star defensive tackle at LSU last year, but now in second year, 6'6", 308, power cleaned 418 pounds.
That's freaking impressive. And I wonder, now it says power clean. It says power clean, and the interesting thing with me will be, is that a hang clean or a power clean? Because there is a big difference. Power clean comes from the flow. Like, that means you got to bring that thing all the way from the ground to the top. Like, that is impressive. You might think that that's easier. It's easier to hang it. It's easier to get a little bit of momentum and hang it because you only got to go like this far. I watched Ben Watson clean close to 400 pounds, and I was just like, what is that? Like, I literally, like, I pressed his forehead. I'm like, are you real? Are you like AI? Like, are you a bot? Like, what is going on? That's pretty, a defensive lineman with that kind of explosiveness at that weight, that's freaky.
Okay, so that tops the list, and then we got the other one that's sort of in that top part of that list and potentially get Bruce on to talk about the rest of the list. But Sonny Styles at Ohio State at 6'4.5", 243, 40-inch vert, 675-pound squat.
Like 675. 675 is pretty good. I'm old. I can't remember my squat, but it was 6 something. It was in the mid 6s to high 6s, I think. But like that's, and here's the thing. I'm just telling everybody out there, like, I used to be 6'4", but I put 600 plus pounds on my back and shrunk 2 inches. Like, I maxed out as a sophomore in college and never maxed again. Like, I loved looking at the bar in the mirror and it was like bent like a mug. It was so cool. But I swear, like, putting that much weight, I was like, I will never do that again. Like, I did it, I got it, and that was fine. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how you do it. Like, you see a lot more 3-rep maxes now than putting so much weight on the bar. But man, I'm telling you, I've told y'all before, but when you walk in the weight room as a freshman and you used to be the biggest, baddest dude on the block and in your building, and you look around and you're like, what? Huh? Like, I'm not even in the top. Like, I benched 455 at Georgia, and I wasn't in the top 30. Like, 30. I mean, you're walking around with a bunch of dudes that are, it's unbelievable height, weight, speed, what they can do. And it's pretty humbling when you walk around with those dudes.
So was Ben Watson the biggest freak that you saw played with in the weight room?
100%. Like, Ben's 40, height, weight, speed. He benched as much as he squatted, but he cleaned, right at 400. Like, it was, I think he ran high 4.3s at the combine, like at 250. 6'4", like long arms. I mean, it was just, he was definitely he would have been on Bruce Feldman's list for sure.
Anybody in the pros that was a different level?
What was crazy? The crazy thing in the pros is you don't lift as much weight. But I remember, like, guys like Bobby Williams who played guard, and they wouldn't let him go real heavy. But I just remember, like, him repping out 405, like I rep out 135. And I'm like, holy cow. Like, so you got a bunch of guys that, like, they made 400 pounds on the bench look easy, but the weight room in the NFL is all about, like, longevity. It's not about explosiveness. And, like, when you're in college, man, you're trying to build as much as you can because you're trying to maximize the runway. When you get in the pros, it's like, let's dial this back. Like, we're not taxing the joints. You're my investment. I've spent a lot of money in you that I want to last over a long period of time. Chad Ochocinco was not a weight room guy, as you can imagine. Didn't see a lot of Chad, busting the weights out, loving the weight room.
What was the most you ever saw on bench?
It wasn't a lot. Hey, I remember hearing from people at Georgia, like, I think Champ did 185 back in the day once. Like, you can check that, but I think he did it once. But let me tell you something. When you run 4.31, it don't matter. Like, he can go cover anybody, anywhere. But I will say this, like, nowadays, man, these kids are working out at a younger age and they're building strength more. Like, high school programs now are so into it. And, like, look at Nick Chubb. We've seen him for years, like his high school program. And, like, you're getting it so much that you're building strength and just compounding it year after year. And I remember when I was in high school, like, the workouts in the summer was on the board. Like, you come in whenever you want and go do it. We have our kids there 4 days a week. in the summer. And it's lifting weights, it's running sprints, and then you get on the field and get some work in. Like, it's a totally different animal. So much better athletes nowadays.
Yeah, I did 205 15 times this morning, so I guess maybe I'm better than Champ Bailey. But yeah, I can't play football.
God, don't you wish you could run like him?
All right, the fun stuff, the playoffs. Who is actually who can? I think because Drinkowicz started this conversation when he was talking about the percentages with the NFL versus college. He's like, hey, we should have whatever 30-something teams that should make the playoffs. But when you really break it down and look at who can make the playoffs, that, like you said, you're probably getting around 30. I've got we've kind of both looked at this independently. And then also I saw Heather Dinich with ESPN took our idea, like we did this well before that she put that out. But her list with ESPN using their all-state playoff predictor, they had 32 that they can make. There's probably some that they have that we don't have. I know there was 3 that they had that I didn't. And then there's some that we obviously have there. So I guess, do you want to go we'll go conference by conference and start and see if there's commonalities here, and then we'll talk about where we differ.
Yeah, let's start in the SEC.
All right.
16 total teams. I think this league has the most. That's why I said start with. I think the SEC has the most. Did you have the most people you think you could make the playoffs?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why I say start there. That's the top tier. Do we start by just knocking off kind of the ones that everybody's going to have? I mean,
I think so. I think there's 3.
Here's one thing first. One thing first. If you did this exercise several years ago when there was 4, and then before that when there was 2, the list was like every year I did this on game day and all this stuff. The list was like you were choosing between 4 teams, 4 to 6 teams, and one like, ooh, who's one craziness? Like if everything went wacky. And that's where it's kind of cool. I think not only have we spread the talent out, got more competitive, people are going to different spots, NIL transfer portal, but now I think because of competitive balance, you also have the ability for more teams to make it, which is cool because I want to watch the last weekends of college football and I want them all to matter. I don't want them to be in a spot where it's like, okay, they can lose these next 2. Like almost like, you could sit in the NFL, you see where you literally sit for a couple weeks and don't play games. Like I don't want to get to that point, but it's pretty cool having so many. But you want to take Texas, UGA, and Bama out of the mix? Is that the 3 you want to take out?
I think those are the 3. We can. Speaking to Georgia first, though, and real quick, did you see who happened to make an appearance at UGA this weekend?
Yeah,
Chucky. Coach Gruden made an appearance. So, what do you think those conversations were like, or what's your sort of most fun interaction you have with Gruden?
Well, first of all, those two are cut from a similar cloth. Like Gruden is all gas, no brakes, like all football, and I think obviously Kirby is. The cool thing about them that would be fun in a room is one's offense, one's defense, and the interaction back and forth would be fantastic to listen to. But I think with Kirby's messaging, like if you're listening to Kirby, like he's trying to get the fire, the passion, the energy, right? Like he's trying to fire those things out of his kids. Chucky will do that.
I wanted to sign players that had it. All my coaches had to have it. Don't be afraid to showcase your emotion, man. Get excited for the guy next to you.
Like Gruden's going to walk in there and he's going to light it on fire. And I saw a little bit of the clip of that, actually. I don't look at many articles, but I do like to look at that kind of stuff. And just listening to him talk, and he always speaks with such conviction and such he's a great motivator. Like he's a coach, and you can see it runs through him. And he's always been a passionate coach. And listen, he went through a rough patch, right? Like in a different stretch and getting fired from the NFL and all the stuff that went into it. But I like that we're getting to see Gruden in his element because this is something I think he was created to do. I mean, he's just created to talk ball and fire people up. Like I think that's a strength of his, obviously.
He exudes passion for the game of football, unlike many. Like he's sort of top of that list. Did you ever have any interactions with him, whether it be sort of NFL and or
NFL
or media
and media? I've texted him a bunch especially during the hard times because he's went through some stuff, man, with all the emails and all the stuff that went public with his with his stuff is it wasn't the most trying time, which is always, I always try to reach out to guys like that when they're in those times and try to make them realize that people still care, like people still cheering for you. And this is hard, but you'll get through these rough patches. And obviously, not surprisingly, he did. And he's still him. And you watch him, you can watch him anytime you want now, which is cool. He'll break down the game 6 ways to Sunday and have a board of 6,000 things to think about, which is really interesting. All right, who's on your next tier?
The same ones that we've kind of looked at. I mean, I guess Bama was included in that list, but the same ones at the end of the year last year. But Ole Miss, South Carolina, LSU are the next sort of three, I think, that are kind of the
Ole Miss, South Carolina, and who?
LSU.
Okay. I mean, you don't have Tennessee on that next list of being able to do it?
I mean,
I love their schedule, bro. I love their schedule.
That's one of those ones where you want to – I just want to see what it looks like for them from an offensive standpoint, where can the defense – you very much believe in the defense, and I think they will be really good defensively. But can you – have something from your offense and not turn the ball over? Let's see that first, I think. But I guess they should be in that next tier.
I thought they were, and then I would even put A&M in that next tier too, because I think A&M. I think the people are going to realize about A&M. I think their offense is going to be a problem this year, because if you look across the line of scrimmage on that O-line, like they got a lot of bodies, a lot of girth. They got Bell at running back who's going to dot your eyeballs. They got a QB that can absolutely fly and can throw the football. They've built it with weapons, I think, that are quick, elusive, can add the jet sweep component, and the +1 in the running game, I think, with Marcel Reed is going to be a big deal, and it's going to be very difficult. So I had A&M on that tier as well with those teams that you named.
Well, one thing I did, though, when I was looking at it is I didn't necessarily put them in tier. So looking down my list, I was just kind of reading the ones that I did. But the thing that you mentioned there was, and it will come back to something that we've talked about already with a couple other teams, where you were sort of very high on Notre Dame's running back room, best in the country. And then also, the Penn State sort of had those two guys with Singleton and Allen there. But if you look at teams that have two running backs that are coming back, or at least added to their roster, who had an 80.0 higher rushing grade, PFF rush grade, there's 5 teams. And a couple of them you wouldn't think about. A&M is one of those teams with Daniels and Moss. And then you also got
such a stud.
And the other one is Baylor with Pendergrass and Washington.
Yep.
But then another one that might not really think about is Georgia. Georgia actually, with McCray transferring in from Illinois, plus Nate Frazier, they are part of that 5 groups that have multiple running backs that can be sort of potentially really, really good for their team.
And I think McCray's a guy that for Georgia could be a physical element that you welcome. And we like the short yardage that was not as great as years past. The offensive line is going to be very new inside. So is that a guy that can hammer away? And then you've got Frazier, who's everybody thinks Nate Frazier's an elite talent. Nobody says he can't run the football. Nobody says he can't make big plays. But everybody gonna say that he's put the ball on the ground a lot. And when you put the ball on the ground a lot, you don't play a lot. Like, that's pretty simple for most coaches, obviously, across the country. I wouldn't have known that with McCray. I wouldn't have known that with Baylor. Obviously, with Penn State, Notre Dame. And listen, Penn State fans, you have a legit gripe with my debate. You have a legit gripe. I am here for debate. I am here for all the discussion we want about all those different things. Your running back room with Allen and Singleton, you have 2 starters. You have 2 guys that could play for almost any team in the country. You have a complement of a 1 and 2 because Allen obviously can be the hammer. He's rushed for over 2K. He can be physical. And Singleton has a little bit more of the lightning, more of the receiving. Like, they're a great duo. They're great backs. The difference to me is Jeremiah Love is the best back, period. And the difference for me, too, is when you go to the other guys, I think having the other guys with Pierce and having Williams in the running back spot, I think you have more variety. You have 3 guys that can do different things. Penn State's running back room is elite. It's elite of elite.
Yep.
I'll still take Notre Dame's over Penn State's. And that's not an insult. That's not an insult, but it's the truth, okay?
No. By the way, we've gone through the SEC, and we're at half of the conference.
Okay, so does that mean we need to go faster?
No,
okay.
That doesn't mean we need to go faster at all, but it's –
I have more names. You have more too, right?
I have definitely more names, yes.
Okay. You want me to go?
You got? You can go, because I think I got more
Auburn. I got Auburn.
Yep.
I got OU.
Yep.
And I got Florida. And then I have one more that with their schedule, I think they have a chance too, not leaving their state very much, Missouri. I think Missouri still has a chance because I think their record will be really solid. And again, there's not much of a better schedule in the country than Missouri football. It's pretty dang good, bro.
Yep. They stay at home through like mid-October in terms of that. But Oklahoma is one you're seeing a lot of hype about just in terms of
we've been on them for a while.
Yes. And you want to see it. You get the Michigan game early, which might end up being a kind of differentiator game in terms of who potentially gets a tight playoff spot. But they can, any of those teams, if they get the right sort of bounces, to me, Auburn, Oklahoma, Florida, even Missouri to that extent,
we're not saying they're going to make the playoffs. We're saying that they're in they'll be able to maybe put themselves in a position if things go right to be there. And that's a lot of teams. Did you have any more?
I had one more, and you're probably going to be a little shocked by this one. There's a world where Vandy could potentially be a playoff team. And the reason and yes, would I pick that in a million years? No, I would never, ever pick that. But Clark Lee talked about it. All the one-score games they had, they were that close to being 10-2 a year ago. If they take care of their business, by the way, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. But could they?
Wait a minute. If it's not going to happen, and then you say, could they? Like, those don't work. Those are mutually exclusive.
Okay. I think
if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Only losses are by the way, you look at their schedule. It's teams they beat a year ago. And what if they go 10-2 and their only losses are at Alabama and at Texas?
All right, listen.
Not going to happen, but
you say you're saying it could happen.
0.1%. That's 0.1% chance.
Listen, I love what you're doing there. And listen, Vanderbilt had a great season. This is also a team that I think they won like 6 games the past 3 years. They went 5-5 in one-score games, I think, which is, Brent, that's good. They're not going to do that again. Like that usually will even out. The talent will even out. Like they obviously beat up on Alabama, which was the biggest thing of their season. They beat Alabama and Auburn, which is a kind of a miracle. Don't think that's ever going to happen probably in the season again. I'm not with you on Vanderbilt. I love Pavia. I'm not even putting them on my fringe. Like that.
Okay.
No, I'm out. You got anybody else in the SEC? Please tell me you don't have anybody else, for God's sakes, because you just put Vandy in there. Okay.
No. Non-zero chance. That was the only reason I included them, because to me there's a non-zero chance.
Listen, I like including those teams on the fringe. I have no problem with that. Who's the next conference for you with the most competitors to do this thing?
That would be the Big Ten.
I would think so too.
Yep.
Sure would hope so.
There's 3 sort of automatics: Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon.
You're putting them in no matter what?
I'm putting them in.
Okay. I feel good with you saying that.
I just think those 3.
You took 3 from the SEC and you said, I feel great about those. 3 from the Big Ten you feel great about. Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon.
Yep. And a lot of that is, when you look at this, it's total talent. And they just have total talent. And I know Bud Elliott does his blue chip ratio every year in terms of got to have like 50% or greater of 4- and 5-star guys to be able to win the whole thing. And these are teams that definitively have that in the Big Ten, plus have really, really good play. It's kind of like when you're picking teams for the next to win a championship and stuff and like do well. It's a given. Like Georgia has a lot of question marks that we just talked about, but there's also a lot of talent that is there that is there that have been highly, highly recruited, and so they're going to step in. They're going to be successful. Their ceilings are higher, and that you'll see that in the draft, right? So I understand exactly what you're saying. So Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. Next tier,
I'm interested. My next tier was, I want to know if you got this team on here, USC.
Yes, they're in my list of possibilities for this conference.
I am super interested to watch USC this year. Like, super interested. And when you look at their schedule, here's the hard part about their schedule, but here's the good part. I'm going to give you both sides. They've got some serious challenges on the road, like at Notre Dame, at Illinois, at Oregon. Like that is a tough stretch who are all going to be on our list for playoff contenders. But what if you steal one? Like steal one of those, and now you look at taking care of business at home, Missouri State, Georgia Southern, like they got to go to Purdue. They host Michigan State.
Yep.
They host Michigan, which is good. And then they host Northwestern. They got to go to Nebraska. They host Iowa. UCLA obviously doesn't matter. It's in the same state, same place. That schedule is not the worst schedule in the world. And I think it's just a matter of how you feel about Lincoln Riley and what he's been doing while he's been there at USC.
And also, too, I think when you look at these schedules, we talked about this previously. What if there's a whole bunch of teams that are 9-3 that are right in that ranked 10th ranked team to the 20th ranked team, and you've got 10 teams that are 9-3? How are you going to distinguish them? And it might be who beats who in a head-to-head, or who has the better non-conference win, that kind of thing, where you've got the fourth SEC team or the fourth or fifth Big Ten or SEC team. And that's a possibility. It was last year. You had the SMU getting in the championship game and being ahead of those SEC teams. So does one of those ACC teams fall back potentially? And you've got a whole bunch more so that are 9-3. Then these teams definitely as possibilities. I got all three of the I's: Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa as possibilities because. And we talked about Iowa with the Gronowski kid coming over to play QB. Ruggiero with the slow mesh, their offense being different. Does that become something?
Thought process.
The schedule is sort of favorable for them in terms of home away. Do they get Iowa State in that game early that it props them up a little bit? That's one. Michigan was also on my list.
Yep. Michigan has to be because of the talent, like we talked about with other teams. Like they're going to recruit elite talent. And here's another thing with Michigan. Like every year, speaking of Feldman's list, every year there's more guys on that list every year. Like it's like, oh, the next guy. And I haven't read the list, but I'm sure there's Michigan guys on the list. Like it's just they find those corn-fed mules, and they have great defensive line play. Can the offensive line play get better? Do their weapons get better? I mean, they've obviously had big wins even when they haven't had great seasons the past couple of years. So that OU game, I think for them, I think that OU game is an elimination game. Like whoever loses that game is possibly not going to the playoff because of that out of conference loss. Like, because everybody else is going to be, like I said, like you said, everybody else is going to be in that range, I think, and competing. And I think they're going to lose several other games. And so that will be a big out of conference game that will really matter.
Now, and if you lose that game, you now have to have a massive win to overcome with that.
Somewhere else.
If you're Michigan, you got to go beat Ohio State again. You've got to, which
they hadn't had a problem doing that.
They haven't had a problem doing that, but that's something it becomes a have to versus more of a thing that you. And
they got to go at USC, which is interesting. But if you look at Michigan's schedule, just tell me where Michigan's going to lose a bunch of games, Brent. Like I'm going to read it to you. Like OU, obviously is a big game. Don't give me New Mexico. I'm not worried about New Mexico. No. Central Michigan at Nebraska. Host Wisconsin, at USC, host Washington, at Michigan State, host Purdue, at Northwestern, at Maryland, Ohio State.
Like there's 7 wins instantly.
Easy.
If you're competent, on offense, like the step that they could take offensively. And
it's okay if you lose to Ohio State. You beat Oklahoma. You got a good out-of-conference game. I think that's going to be a big game for them. And Nebraska, like that's a big game going to Nebraska. Do you have them on your list?
So that was the only other team on the Big Ten list that I had. So at 9 of the 8, I had 9 of the 18 in the Big Ten as potentials. And I did have Nebraska because they get that game, and they get that game against Michigan at home. and they only have to play Penn
Have you
State.
seen their
They don't
schedule
play-
to start the season? 5 straight home games.
Yep.
Like, that's a tough place to play.
Well, the first game's in like Arrowhead, I think. The first
Oh,
game's
that's
in,
right.
like, neutral
Kansas
site,
City. That's right. But
against
Cincinnati,
but
and then you got Akron. For $4 million without cheating, can you name Houston? Their second game is Houston Christian. Their name's Houston Christian. For $500, can you name the mascot?
No, I got no shot.
Houston Christian.
It looks like a husky.
Huskies. It's
it looks
a husky.
like a husky on the picture, but yeah, I wouldn't have been able to name it without seeing the picture.
So I think they're going 3-0. Then they host Michigan, and then they host Michigan State, and then they go to Maryland, and then they go to Minnesota. Like, they could have a lot of momentum going. Listen, Raiola is one of the better, he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Like, I feel really, he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the country. He was highly rated for a reason. Like, that dude was elite of elite and you saw, listen, don't give me the Mahomes stuff, but just the arm angles and the different creativity to be able to make plays and throw the football. He's going to take steps forwards. Matt Rule's program is going to take steps forward. Like, and then you couple that with that schedule early in the year, and then you host Northwestern, and then you host USC, and then you got UCLA and at Penn State. Obviously, is difficult. That Iowa game late in the season might be for something. Like, that might be for something because you gotta love Nebraska's schedule. I mean, gotta love it.
The additions outside as well, with Dane Key coming from Kentucky and the
Boy can
Hunter
fly
kid coming from Cal, that are both big and very sure-handed receivers. Very minimal drops, both of them.
And when you watch Nebraska a year ago, they needed playmakers. They needed to have more of that in their offense. And I think that will go a long way. And again, another year in the system too is not going to hurt with Matt Rule. So Nebraska fans, is this the year? Are we finally going to take that? Because here's the thing, they had a winning season. Like, they took a step forward. They didn't do we break your heart and we completely suck. Like, they took steps forward. Do they take that next step? And if they take that next step, Big Red's going to be jacked up out of their mind because that's such an elite fan base, man.
34 teams in both of those conferences. We got 21 basically that have a chance to make the playoffs. The hyper competitiveness of the Big Ten and SEC this year is going to be fascinating to watch because
now I'm interested
a lot
in
of
the
teams
next one.
that can.
Yeah, well, give me a lot of teams that can in the next couple conferences. I want to see I'm interested to see because mine are very similar here.
All right, so the next team with the most that sort of can, to me, next conference was the Big 12.
Yep.
And that's mainly because I think any of these 6 or 7 teams could win the conference, not necessarily get the auto bid, but win the conference. And I'll give you my list, and then we'll see if you got any different. I got Arizona State, Baylor, Iowa State. That's one where I only included him because the QB's coming back. I don't know that Matt Campbell and what he's done there, not necessarily. I think they're going to take a step back.
Is this like a Vanderbilt where you're giving them 0.01% chance, or are you giving them like?
It's definitely a non-zero
2.6?
chance. No, it's higher than 2.6.
Okay, all right.
Kansas State, TCU,
Yes.
Texas Tech, and Utah.
Okay.
So 7 teams there. And by the way, on Heather Dennis that did with the ESPN stuff, they had Kansas and BYU as potential playoff teams. So
I didn't have either one of those, but I can understand. Well, I can understand why BYU with what they've been able to accomplish and what they were able to accomplish last year, but obviously losing your QB, I think, hurts the consistency and some of that you can trust. I know he made mistakes as well, but I'm not there yet. To me, there's 5 that are no-brainers, and I have 5 that I told you I thought could win the conference. That's how deep I think the conference is. Arizona State, Utah, Baylor, Kansas State, and Texas Tech are my 5 that I think can win the Big 12. And then my fringe that I feel confident saying that if things went really right, not 0.01% chance, like – a really good season. TCU, we just saw them do it not too long ago. If the defense takes a bunch of steps forward, I know the offense is going to score. I know they're going to score. So that side would just have to take a huge leap. So I don't need both sides to go nuts. I just need the defense to get much better with some additions. And then I had Iowa State on the fringe as well. Just I mean, that's just, I just I don't know if I can see them overcoming those 2 losses at receiver. I know the quarterback's there, but man, that was such a big part. So I had those 5 and then those 2 on the fringe.
Yeah. So that's our list was the same for that conference. ACC.
Yeah.
By the way, well, and I'll include Notre Dame in here because we both like Notre Dame as a definitive. Feel
okay,
really
so we're counting that in the ACC.
Yeah, we'll. I mean, in a way, yeah, because they play.
I put those on the out. Like I put G5, Notre Dame, and then below it, I started putting the teams that was outside of it. But obviously, they don't count for the G5. But I'm just saying, like outside of it. I think ACC. I think we're gonna have. I'll be interested to see this. I have a fringe team that might not be on your list, but I'm assuming you're gonna have Clemson. I'm assuming you're going to have Miami. I'm assuming you're going to have SMU. I'm assuming you're going to have Louisville, Georgia Tech. Those were the main several that I had. Did you have anyone else that you felt very confident about besides them?
So I didn't have Louisville. And
no?
I think mainly because of their schedule and the fact that they have to play the other like 2 or 3 of the other big ones. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, they got to play Clemson and Miami and SMU. So right. You're 3 of the teams that we're putting in there, they've got to play.
Right. So the other team that I put there as my last sort of fringe team is Duke. Because if you look at the Mensa versus Malik Murphy, like Darian Mensa, way better, a lot better player. And you look at their schedule, if they happen to get the sort of early with Illinois at home and then at Tulane from the non-conference, because to me, having those as non-conference victories to where maybe your only conference loss, I mean, they were 5-3 in the conference a year ago. They win those same games. They host Georgia Tech. Yep. And then they got to go to Clemson, but don't play Miami, don't play SMU, don't play Louisville. So it was more about their schedule and could they be 7-1 and happen to find themselves in the ACC championship game. I mean, that to me is definitely a possibility.
I can get down with that. Like the Vanderbilt, you can jump off a cliff.
Yes.
I can get down with the Duke because I worry about Illinois early and Tulane both being early. By the way, at Tulane is not fun either. I don't. That's always strange to me when
Mensa's playing his former team like that. That's
which is cool. But yeah, obviously Georgia Tech. But I mean, nobody's worried about Cal that much. And then Virginia, we don't expect a lot. Wake Forest, we don't expect a lot. So I understand the reasoning behind it. When you watch Duke play a year ago, they were fun to watch, man. I mean, they were, but they beat UNC by, I think they beat UNC by 1. Like it was 21-20 maybe.
A lot of close games.
And they beat UConn by like a touchdown. And so I just. I'm not seeing that. They beat Troy by a touchdown. Yeah, and I just that's what's called smart. That's a smart deduction. Like I'm good with that. Like I'm smart with you looking at that and seeing it and saying because of the schedule, Vanderbilt, you didn't say that, and that's why you deserve to be, probably roasted. Stoned. Yeah, roasted a little bit when Vanderbilt goes 0-1 to my fringe team, who they lost to last year, who they beat last year, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Which,
by the way, Heather Dinich also had Virginia Tech.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
I did not. I did not think that would happen with Virginia Tech. But here's the thing with Virginia Tech that I find very interesting is the 1-2 punch to start the season at South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Like 2 chances to get one of those games, and then when you start to look at the AC, and they're in the ACC, and they host Miami, which they played a great game with Miami last year, but they go to Georgia Tech, and they host Louisville. So they've got, I think they'll be a solid football team, and I think they can win more games. But I'm not. Listen, I'm putting them on the fringe. I'm not definitely saying that they're going to be there, but. They're a team because of their schedule, and if they could sneak away with, like South Carolina's breaking in a ton to start the season. Like if you're going to play South Carolina, I want to play them early.
Neutral site, right? That's in Atlanta. That's in Atlanta, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Atlanta? Yeah.
I think it's a neutral site, but it's in Mercedes-Benz. But that's one you sneak up and have a good opening game, and then obviously you get some momentum and steal. The reverse of what happened to you, which Vanderbilt did to you a year ago. So I put them on the fringe, and obviously understood they were out on the outside fringe.
Yep.
Okay, I do want one thing out of this though. The more I study, the more I look at it, I have a hang up with picking Miami. I have a hang up with I've seen enough, right? Like I've seen that movie. I know the credits. I know how it ends, right? But Carson Beck is going to be great in South Beach because his offensive line is going to be really good. Like top 10 pick on the offensive line. Other guys across the board with depth. Big physical maulers. Like they're going to create balance. They're going to protect him. Carson Beck protected a couple years ago was lights freaking out. Like he was lights out. He is this when the secondary play comes in, it becomes a little bit harder. Miami's got speed. Their defense, Brent, cannot get worse. It absolutely can't get worse. It's going to get better. So, like we've talked about the ACC and we went through that with Miami and the other teams. Notre Dame breaking it a lot, a new quarterback. Miami wins that game early in the season.
Yep.
Miami's going to the playoffs. Like they're going to be very much in the mix. It's hard to pull the trigger, but the lines of scrimmage and that team, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. I think Miami's in for a good year.
You talked about Beck and being protected last year.
Yeah.
Even last year, by the way, he was, I think, third in the Power Four in terms of clean pocket passing grade. So when he was kept clean, he's one of the best there is. And by the way, it was even better. I think he was number one the previous year or two, the previous year. Two, because Jaden Daniel was so good. But, keep him clean, different animal. But so much of what we saw season ago was Cam Ward. Clean. Cam Ward making plays to sort of save them.
Yeah,
in the
but
game.
Cam Ward danced. Cam Ward didn't play within structure as much as I would like. Cam Ward has more Caleb Williams in him than obviously Carson Beck's going to have. Carson Beck understands like ball needs to come out. I take layups. I can't run. I'm not a great athlete. I'm a decent athlete, but I have much better athletes to get the football too. And so I'm just saying Miami plays early in the season. We're going to find out with Notre Dame and Florida within the first 4 games of the season, but they don't have to play. They don't have to play Clemson this year, which is good. They play SMU. They play Louisville. But this is a team that they should be in contention. They should be one of the top tier teams on your list that you go Clemson, Miami, X. You know what I'm saying? Like those, you should do that, and you should say they're in the playoff contention. They should be. That last year they were on the fringe. They should have been in. They should have done a better job finishing games and beating teams and not letting people hang around. But is this the year for Miami? That's tough. It's tough to pull the trigger and say yes, but the components are there, man. The components are there.
Because the coach does a phenomenal job at probably priority one of your job, which is recruiting guys, talented dudes to come to play for your team. He hasn't done the job of the actual part during the game when the 60 minutes is rolling, and that's the part that's just hurt them to the nth degree.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Unfortunately, I did have so in terms of the group of 5 teams, I had 7 of the group of 5 teams as possibilities. Basically, it's Mountain West Conference, American Conference, and then Liberty. Like in terms of the top 3 in each of those conferences. So
yep.
Memphis, Tulane, Navy, Boise, UNLV, San Jose State, and then Liberty. Like it's going to be somebody. It's got to be somebody.
I added one.
It's
I
Boise
added one to that.
Not. Okay.
I have one extra that you don't have, and I don't have some that you have. So I had a JMU.
Okay.
I think JMU returning a lot, built a culture, had a really good season last year. I think they put up 70 on North Carolina last year. I think returned a lot of their defense. I think that's a program worth respecting. Their schedule obviously is really, really good. And then they're at Texas State might be the biggest challenge on their schedule. That's a recipe for success. I think JMU's in that mix too.
So my total was 42.
Well,
41 if you take off my point, not my non-zero Vandy chance. So if you go down there, and by the way, I didn't have Louisville. You had Louisville, so that was we're pretty similar in terms of
you
numbers
had Vanderbilt, but not Louisville. That makes total sense. Yeah, that makes finding that
non-zero chance.
I mean, I would bet whatever you wanted to bet that Louisville's record is going to be a lot better than Vanderbilt's.
Is that
name it.
Little sidebar?
Yeah. Whatever you'd like to put on that there, sir.
Yeah,
how big a boy are you, Roy D. Mercer? Come on.
You're going to be right on that one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Likely, especially since I said it. It's just like last week when I asked you the question, are we ever going to see an undefeated national champion again? Somebody's going and watch Clemson or somebody or Texas, whomever, Notre Dame, whomever. They're going to go 16-0 this year and prove that wrong instantaneously. But that's
prediction season is so much fun. I mean, this is just not said nobody. Like there's so many. I love when we get to see them. And just watch them and then start to diagnose as the year goes on. Like, because nobody would have put Notre Dame in there a year ago. People would have doubted Penn State. And then you start to watch them long enough and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, Colton Ecke's good. Oh, Al Golden's pretty good. Oh, I mean, the Riley Leonard kid can play. Oh, they're physical. I think we'll start to see SMU last year. I mean, Kevin Jennings turned that offense into an explosive machine. And I think we'll start to see those. And those are more fun to watch and to be a part of. And we ain't far, dog. We ain't far. What are we going to talk about Wednesday? What are we going to do Wednesday?
That's a great question. We haven't really got there yet. You want to actually make some predictions? Since we've got this big list, we could make some predictions off of our big list here in terms of who's going to make the playoffs. By the way, off of this, so we looked at around 40-ish teams. How many of those do you think can win the whole thing?
Well, that's a much different conversation. I mean, I kind of had a line like through mine where I kind of divvied them up, and
because I've got 8 teams that I think can win the whole thing.
That sucks because my lines are at 8 too. Like if I just added up my lines real quick of where I drew them over, that I had 8.
3 from the Big Ten, 3 from the SEC, Notre Dame, and Clemson.
You have none from the Big 12?
No.
You don't think Arizona State could win it?
I don't know about the whole thing.
Look at what they showed you against Texas. Like, Texas got fortunate to win that football game late. Like, if they would have started – now, listen, Dillingham's not showing us anything yet. Like, what he's showing us in his team is they better get that entitlement out of their system.
Yes.
But, like, I'd be okay with putting Arizona State on that list. I think the question is in the ACC – I'm with you with Clemson, but sometimes the more I start to get a feel for teams, I start to get a feeling in here, and I just got to go with it. And something about Miami, it just feels that way. Like I feel like, I don't know why, I just feel like they're going to put it together and they're going to have a good season. And I know it's been a lot of not great. And shoot, since they joined the ACC, we thought they were going to take that league over. They've never won the league.
Right.
They've never won it. Like, I don't think they've won it once, correct? Like, literally, I don't think they've won the ACC. That's nuts to think about when they came into that league and what we thought they would be. But all right, well, I guess we'll see you. We'll see you Wednesday, and we'll predict more, I guess, because it's predicting season. But we're getting closer, we promise, to the real deal thing. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for subscribing, rating, doing all that crap that's a part of the service that makes us better and that makes us grow. We continue to grow, and we thank y'all for it. We'll see you in a couple days.